A visibly annoyed Don Lemon delayed a commercial break on CNN this morning, revealing another display of the rumored tensions between him and his co-hosts, Kaitlin Collins and Poppy Harlow. This is about 2 minutes long. Just watch.
President's son in some of their shady business dealings.
Right.
That's why we're concerned about Biden.
No evidence of that so far. I understand you have questions about it.
Well, we have evidence that they've influence peddled, that they've always used the Biden.
But not in relation to the classified
We don't
documents.
have any evidence of the classified documents, but we're investigating that.
Okay, Congressman Comer, we're out of time. Unfortunately, we have a lot more questions for you. I know you have a bunch of hearings this week. Thank you for taking time to join us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you. That's going to be it. That's the time that we're in, where facts are sort of flexible. And
That's why we got Kaitlin Collins on the Hill,
things out there,
fact-checking in real time. It was a great interview.
Citing incredible sources, like citing the New York Post as a credible source and saying that facts are, it's just, I can't believe that we're here.
Kaitlin, that was a great interview. All right, moving on.
Anyway, well, now moving on, because that's a big issue when it comes to the American, hold on please with the music. That's a big issue when it comes to the American people. The American people are going to have to suffer through all of this stuff, from election deniers to people who don't believe in facts. We don't have a shared reality, and now it's taken center stage to people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, an election denier, a conspiracy theorist, a QAnon sort of influencer or supporter presiding over the House of Representatives. Mm-hmm. It's a sad day for America when that happens, and it's a sad time for us when we have to deal with that.
And I also think, and that was the point I was trying to make, is why it is critically important to constantly and in real time fact check, right? Yeah. And say, for example, Merrick Garland appointed the special counsel, as Kaitlin said, for both Trump and Biden. And are you going to treat these things the same?
The same as going back to a special counsel. I'm not sure if it's the same kind you and I were talking about it for Bill Clinton when it came to Ken Starr. Was that effective and what it's not? But I think there should be equal treatment by all. If you're going to appoint a special counsel for the former president, then you should appoint one for the current president and possibly for the current the vice president and what have you. So here we go. We'll be right back.
Ooh, cringe. CNN released a statement to mediate about the alleged tensions between the show's hosts. It reads, "The Post account is widely overblown and 2 months old. Don, Kaitlin, and Poppy were friends before they were co-anchors, and they remain friends today."
No, I have to stop you here, Briahna. This can't go on. I have to give a special, the lies of the...
You have to put your Don Lemon glasses back on, Robby. Oh, they're very similar to your
Are
glasses.
they? Well, he's well dressed, man. I like the suit combo he's doing.
Look, he looks great.
For shame.
The way this is being framed is like a story about the tensions between the hosts, almost like sidesteps what feels like the bigger issue here, which is Don Lemon's politics. Yeah. This weird defensive political.
He said the New York Post is not a legitimate outlet. I assume we're referencing somewhere here the story, which again, real story. Everyone's decided it's real, so he's still going down this. That was not legitimate journalism.
You mean the Hunter Biden
story.
I mean, it could be that, but liberals generally speaking. Look, do I think that the New York Post is the best paper in the world? No. Do I think that it often focuses on weird, prurient cultural, social issues and has weird, inflammatory headlines and is it the newsiest thing that ever happened? No. But it's a mainstream newspaper that a lot of people read, and trying to base your argument off of these attacks on the authority that are being cited, it's so weak. It's just such a weak way to try to make your point. And it also truly misunderstands his audience. He's in New York talking to a New York audience. I think it's one of the most popular daily papers in the city. Who are you trying to convince right now? Everybody who already agrees with you?
He comes across that he just loves the sound of his own voice.
Yes.
He's a monologuer. He's someone who wants his own show. I think not to share the spotlight with Poppy or Kaitlin. He's not been sharing it very well.
Yeah, he's incredibly smug. And
he was making it sound like you shouldn't even do that interview. I think that was part of the bristly, but he's saying like this was inappropriate to interview a Republican who has different ideas.
A congressperson.
Yeah, it was adjacent to the we're spreading misinformation by even talking to this person, and that's ridiculous. And I'm sure it was we just played the end part, but she pushed back in the part we showed, so it clearly wasn't a softball interview.
No.
If anything, it was probably harsher than I bet a lot of interviews they do with Russiagate peddling deep state agents and Democrats, but fine. He has some, and what we saw James Comer said was fine by. He was saying, yes, we have concerns about the influence peddling. We haven't proved it. We have other concerns. That's why we're investigating them, et cetera. And then Don Lemon was like, oh, no, we can't be doing this. We can't be doing actual journalism.
Yeah, and in making that argument, he also threw his co-host under the bus. And that's what the other woman was trying to say. Like, well, she did a great interview. She pushed back. Wow. She did her best. She did what we're here to do, which is journalism. Don't undermine the integrity of the segment that we just played.
People of Don Lemon's ilk think journalism is preventing audiences and readers from learning information. They think it's gatekeeping information. They think that's what the job of journalism is.
Yeah, and it's interesting the dynamics over on a channel like channels like CNN and MSNBC, because they have created a fortress of unilateral thought. And it's not that they don't have Republicans on the show. In fact, you were mentioning while we were in break that one of these two women used to work for
Collins, she
Daily
was a reporter
Wire.
For the Daily Caller.
The Daily Caller, sorry.
A conservative news publication.
That is fascinating to me because again and again and again, you see that there like kind of superficial, like technical, ideological diversity at these kinds of places. But the organizing principle is everybody has to just hate Trump, hate populism, basically be a neoliberal. It doesn't matter if you're neoliberal on the right or the neoliberal on the left. And not to cast aspersion on the female co-hosts here.
And be deferential to law enforcement.
Because at least the female co-hosts were trying to do some journalism and do their jobs. But it's always remarkable to me that you get this kind of siloed political approach that is exemplified by Don Lemon, I think precisely because they're so not used to hearing anything outside of the envelope, including from the left.
Well, former Fox News anchor and host of the Megyn Kelly Show, Megyn Kelly, weighed in on Don Lemon's behavior, tweeting, "I have co-anchored with the best of them. Never has a colleague so disrespectfully tried to correct my interview on the air or mansplain," that is what it was mansplaining, "to me how I did it all wrong. In front of the audience, no less. CNN, how much longer are you going to allow this to go on?" Because there's also been reporting about Don Lemon being furious with Kaitlin Collins in particular for interrupting him or clashing with him or something. So there, maybe I talked about this with Batya. Maybe it wasn't you, it was Batya. We talked about reporting that during a commercial break, Don Lemon just unloaded on Kaitlin Collins, just screamed at her in front of the whole staff, which is not something you do. You don't yell at people in front of this. Don't yell at people in general. It's like a workplace issue.
So he was previously with Cuomo. Was that or Anderson Cooper?
No. He was.
Who was Don Lemon's evening co-host? Wasn't it him and Cuomo joking through the whole pandemic?
I thought he would join. I thought he was a correspondent who would join in.
Sorry, a correspondent. Yeah, but that was his sparring partner. It does feel a little to me like. It's patronizing. He does feel like he's talking down to his co-host, and I wonder if he thinks of himself as the solo lead of a night show who has banter with a co-equal person like Andrew Cuomo or Anderson Cooper, who are also were at least solo hosts of their own shows, and basically feels like it's stooping too low to even be here. Because that's the
how it
attitude
comes across.
Yeah,
it's definitely how it comes across.
Yeah.
You gotta have respect for your co-host. It's an important thing.
I'm glad we can model such exemplary behavior here, Robby.
Yes, we're very well behaved, very responsible here. Respectful dialogue. Tomorrow on Rising, we will be back with you to discuss the big news of the day, the news of the Thursday.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we are, of course, available anywhere you listen to podcasts. We're also on Roku and other streaming services, so check us out there as well.
See you later. Hope you have a good one.
Bye-bye.